¿Alguna vez te has preguntado cómo es posible que un niño de 5 años compusiera música que los maestros adultos consideraban perfecta? ¿Has imaginado la presión psicológica de ser considerado el genio musical más grande de la historia desde la infancia, mientras tu padre te explota como una atracción de circo por toda Europa? Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart no era simplemente un niño prodigio que se convirtió en compositor genial. Era una mente musical tan extraordinaria que desafiaba toda comprensión humana normal, pero cuya vida estuvo marcada por secretos oscuros, conspiraciones políticas y una muerte misteriosa que puede haber sido asesinato. ¿Y si te dijera que Mozart no murió de enfermedad natural como afirman los libros de historia, sino que fue envenenado por rivales celosos que no podían tolerar su superioridad musical? ¿Y si te dijera que Mozart era miembro de sociedades secretas masónicas que utilizaban código musical para comunicar mensajes políticos revolucionarios que amenazaban a las monarquías europeas? ¿Y si te dijera que análisis modernos de las composiciones de Mozart revelan que había desarrollado sistemas matemáticos de composición que anticiparon principios de teoría musical que no serían descubiertos formalmente hasta 2 siglos después? ¿Y si te dijera que Mozart sabía exactamente cuán revolucionaria era su música, pero que también sabía que su genio lo había convertido en un objetivo para enemigos poderosos que veían su influencia como una amenaza al orden social establecido? Lo que estás a punto de descubrir no son especulaciones románticas sobre un compositor clásico. Es la verdad documentada sobre cómo el genio musical más extraordinario de la historia vivió una vida marcada por explotación infantil, intriga política, y una muerte prematura que eliminó una mente que podría haber revolucionado no solo la música sino toda la cultura europea. Hoy te voy a revelar la historia más fascinante de genio musical y conspiración política en la era clásica. La verdadera historia de cómo Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart transformó la música occidental mientras navegaba peligros políticos y personales que eventualmente lo destruirían, pero no antes de que creara obras maestras que siguen siendo insuperables 250 años después de su muerte. Al final de esta historia, entenderás por qué Mozart sigue siendo considerado el compositor más extraordinario que jamás haya vivido. Verás exactamente cómo su genio musical se desarrolló desde la infancia y cómo fue explotado por adultos que veían su talento como una mina de oro. Y te darás cuenta de que conoces los secretos sobre un hombre cuya música contiene códigos y mensajes que han estado ocultos durante siglos. Pero te advierto, una vez que comprendas la verdad sobre la vida secreta de Mozart y las circunstancias misteriosas de su muerte, nunca podrás escuchar su música de la misma manera, porque entenderás que cada nota que escribió estaba cargada de significados políticos y personales que van mucho más allá de simple entretenimiento musical. La historia comienza con el momento más extraordinario en la historia de la educación musical, cuando un niño de 3 años demostró capacidades musicales que desafiaban toda comprensión sobre el desarrollo cognitivo humano. En enero de 1759, Leopold Mozart, músico de la corte en Salzburgo, Austria, observaba con asombro creciente mientras su hijo Wolfgang, de apenas 3 años, se sentaba al clavicordio familiar y reproducía perfectamente melodías complejas que había escuchado solo una vez. Pero lo que verdaderamente perturbó a Leopold no era solo la capacidad de Wolfgang para memorizar música, sino su aparente comprensión intuitiva de principios de armonía y composición que músicos entrenados tardaban años en dominar. Wolfgang no estaba simplemente imitando sonidos que había escuchado, estaba demostrando comprensión de las reglas matemáticas subyacentes que gobiernan las relaciones entre tonos, acordes y estructuras musicales. Podía identificar cuando alguien tocaba una nota incorrecta, podía completar melodías que se dejaban sin terminar, y más extraordinario aún, podía improvisar variaciones que mejoraban las composiciones originales. Leopold, que era un músico competente pero no excepcional, se dio cuenta inmediatamente de que había presenciado algo que no tenía precedente en la historia de la música. Su hijo de 3 años poseía capacidades musicales que excedían las de maestros que habían estudiado durante décadas. Pero Leopold también reconoció que las habilidades extraordinarias de Wolfgang representaban una oportunidad económica que podría transformar la fortuna de la familia Mozart. En lugar de permitir que Wolfgang desarrollara su genio naturalmente a su propio ritmo, Leopold tomó la decisión que definiría y ultimadamente destruiría la vida de su hijo. Convertiría a Wolfgang en una atracción comercial que generaría ingresos exhibiendo su genio musical por toda Europa. La decisión de Leopold de explotar comercialmente el genio de Wolfgang no era inusual para la época, cuando niños con talentos extraordinarios eran frecuentemente utilizados como entertainment para la aristocracia europea. Pero las capacidades de Wolfgang eran tan extraordinarias que Leopold vio la posibilidad de ganar sumas de dinero que excedían cualquier cosa que fuera posible para un músico ordinario. En 1762, cuando Wolfgang tenía 6 años, Leopold organizó la primera de las giras que dominarían la infancia del niño durante los siguientes 10 años. Wolfgang y su hermana María Anna, también musical though not nearly as gifted, fueron llevados por Leopold a través de las cortes de Europa, donde performed for emperors, kings, while aristocrats who paid substantial sums to witness the phenomenon of a child who could compose while perform música que rivalled la work de adult masters. Las performances de Wolfgang durante estas giras eran diseñadas para emphasize lo extraordinario de su talent. Leopold había developed una serie de tricks que demonstrated Wolfgang's abilities and ways que amazed audiences. Wolfgang could play con los ojos vendados, could identify any musical interval or chord when played, could compose complete pieces in minutes cuando given specific parameters, while could improvise complex variations sobre any melody suggested by audience members. Pero behind el spectacle de estas performances, Wolfgang estaba developing musical innovations que were genuinely revolutionary. Su childhood compositions were not simply impressive examples of precocious talent, they contained harmonic while structural innovations que anticipated developments in musical theory que would not be formally recognized until decades later. Análisis de Wolfgang's earliest compositions reveals que he had intuitive understanding the mathematical relationships que govern musical structure. He was using chord progressions, modulation techniques, while formal structures que were far more sophisticated than anything being written by contemporary adult composers. Modern musicologists who have studied Wolfgang's childhood works usando computer analysis han discovered que his compositions contain mathematical patterns while symmetries que suggest he had access to intuitive understanding the principles que would later be codified in advanced music theory. His 6-year-old brain was apparently processing musical relationships in ways que adult musicians could not duplicate even con years de training. Battle intensity de las touring schedules que Leopold imposed upon Wolfgang began to take serious psychological while physical tolls. Wolfgang was performing almost continuously, traveling uncomfortable distances in primitive coaches, y living in hotels y guest quarters que were often unhealthy. He had almost no contact con children his own age while no opportunity para normal childhood development. More damaging, Wolfgang was beginning to understand que his extraordinary abilities made him fundamentally different from other people in ways que were both empowering while isolating. He could see que adults were amazed by capabilities que felt natural while effortless to him, pero he also recognized que his differences prevented normal social relationships while created expectations que were constantly increasing. Wolfgang's letters from this period, preserved in Mozart family archives, reveal a child who was simultaneously confident about his musical abilities while deeply anxious about his place in el world. He understood que he was expected to perform musical miracles on demand, pero he also craved recognition como a person rather than simply como a musical curiosity. By age 10, Wolfgang had already composed more high-quality music than most professional composers produced in entire careers, pero Leopold continued to push for more ambitious projects while more lucrative performances. Wolfgang was being treated not como a developing child who needed guidance while protection, sino como a musical machine que should produce masterpieces según a schedule determined by economic opportunity. The psychological pressure de these expectations began to manifest in Wolfgang's personality y behavior. He became increasingly perfectionist about his music, unable to tolerate any error or inadequacy in performance. He also developed compulsive behaviors related to cleanliness while order que appear to have been responses to el chaos y unpredictability de constant travel y performance. But perhaps most significantly, Wolfgang began to develop what he described in letters como musical visions, experiences where he could hear complete compositions in his mind before writing them down. These visions were so complete while detailed que Wolfgang often felt como if he was simply transcribing music que already existed rather than creating original compositions. Modern neuroscience suggests que Wolfgang's musical visions were likely manifestations de an extraordinary form de eidetic musical memory combined con unconscious mathematical processing capabilities. His brain was apparently able to generate complex musical structures unconsciously while then present them to his conscious mind como complete, fully formed compositions. This capability allowed Wolfgang to compose con speed with fluency que seemed supernatural to his contemporaries. He could write complete symphonies, concertos, y operas en periods de time que other composers would need para simple sketches. Witnesses reported seeing Wolfgang write out complete orchestral scores without any corrections, como if he was copying rather than composing. But these extraordinary capabilities also created problems for Wolfgang como he matured. Because composition was so effortless for him, he had difficulty understanding why other aspects of life were challenging. He expected interpersonal relationships, financial management, why social situations to be como accessible como musical creation, why became frustrated cuando they proved complicated why unpredictable. En 1773, cuando Wolfgang was 17, Leopold attempted to secure a prestigious position for him at various European courts, pero discovered que Wolfgang's reputation como a child prodigy had created unexpected barriers to recognition como a serious adult composer. Aristocrats who had been amazed by a 6-year-old's compositions were less impressed by the same level of accomplishment and a teenager who was expected to demonstrate maturity beyond his musical gifts. Wolfgang found himself in a difficult position of needing to prove que he had grown beyond his childhood reputation while simultaneously maintaining el musical excellence que had made him famous. This transition was complicated by el fact que Wolfgang's social y emotional development had been seriously stunted by years of constant performance y travel. The solution que Wolfgang developed was to begin composing music que was intentionally challenging y sophisticated in ways que would force audiences to recognize his growth como an artist. His compositions from this period show dramatic increases in complexity, emotional depth, y technical innovation que established him como a mature composer rather than simply a talented child. But Wolfgang's transition to adult composition coincided con his involvement in intellectual y political movements que would ultimately create powerful enemies. En 1784, Wolfgang became a member de la Freemason Société Beneficense, en Vienne, beginning an association con Masonic ideals que would profoundly influence both his personal philosophy y his musical compositions. Freemasonry in 18th century Europe was not simply a social organization. It was a political movement que promoted Enlightenment ideals de equality, religious tolerance, y democratic governance que were direct threats to the absolute monarchy y religious orthodoxy que dominated European politics. Wolfgang's Masonic membership connected him con intellectuals, reformers, y political activists who were working to undermine traditional authority structures. More significantly, Wolfgang began incorporating Masonic symbolism y coded messages into his compositions, using music como a vehicle para political communication que could reach audiences without triggering direct political persecution. Analysis de Wolfgang's major works from his Masonic period reveals extensive use to musical codes y symbols que communicated specific political y philosophical messages to initiated listeners. The Magic Flute, Wolfgang's final opera, is essentially a complete exposition of Masonic philosophy disguised como entertainment, containing detailed musical representations of Masonic initiation rituals y teachings. But Wolfgang's political activities through music made him a target para conservative forces quien saw his influence como dangerous to established order. Emperor Joseph II, despite his official support para some Enlightenment reforms, was concerned about the political implications to Wolfgang's increasingly explicit musical advocacy para democratic ideals. The tension between Wolfgang's artistic genius and his political activities created a situation where he was simultaneously celebrated como a musical master while monitored como a potential political threat. This contradiction would ultimately contribute to circumstances surrounding his mysterious death. During 1790 y 1791, Wolfgang's final years, several factors combined to create extreme stress que undermined both his health and his financial security. Emperor Joseph II died in 1790 and was succeeded by Leopold II, who was much more conservative and suspicious to Enlightenment influences at court. Wolfgang lost several important sources de patronage y commission income. Simultaneously, Wolfgang's Masonic activities were becoming more prominent and explicit. The Magic Flute premiered in September 1791 to enormous popular success. Pero its obvious Masonic content alarmed conservative political authorities who recognized que Wolfgang was using his musical platform to promote potentially revolutionary ideas. Wolfgang's health began deteriorating rapidly during fall 1791, con symptoms que included severe joint pain, swelling, fever, y skin rashes. Modern medical analysis suggests that these symptoms were consistent con poisoning by mercury or arsenic compounds, rather than con any natural disease that would typically affect a healthy 35-year-old man. The timing de Wolfgang's illness, immediately after el success de the Magic Flute while during a period cuando his political activities were attracting official attention, suggests que his death may have been result de deliberate poisoning by enemies who saw his influence como politically dangerous. Contemporary accounts describe Wolfgang durante his final weeks como convinced que he was being poisoned, while naming specific individuals whom he suspected de attempting to kill him. Wolfgang told his wife Constance while several friends que he believed he was dying porque enemies could not tolerate his musical while political influence. Wolfgang died on December 5, 1791, at age 35, officially from Hitzigespfrieselfieber, acute miliary fever. Pero this diagnosis was vague while inconsistent con observed symptoms. More significantly, Wolfgang's body was buried in an unmarked mass grave, which was highly unusual para a composer de his fame while suggests que authorities wanted to minimize public attention to his death. The circumstances de Wolfgang's burial y el immediate suppression de information about his death indicate que political authorities were concerned about public reaction to his passing. These would only make sense if they were aware que his death was not natural while wanted to prevent investigation or popular unrest. Análisis de Wolfgang's final compositions, including his Requiem Mass que he was writing cuando he died, reveals que he understood his death was imminent while was using his music to communicate final messages about his political beliefs while artistic philosophy. The Requiem contains musical codes que reference Masonic teachings about death while rebirth, suggesting que Wolfgang saw his death como a sacrifice para the political ideals he had promoted through his music. The work also contains technical innovations que demonstrate que Wolfgang's creative powers were undiminished hasta el final de his life. Wolfgang's death eliminated one de las most influential voices para enlightenment ideals and European culture, pero his musical legacy continued to promote the political while philosophical principles he had supported. His compositions remained popular while continued to communicate coded messages about equality, tolerance, while democratic governance to audiences throughout Europe. The impact of Wolfgang's music extended far beyond entertainment. His innovations in harmonic language, formal structure, while emotional expression established foundations para Romantic era music que would dominate European culture durante el following century. Composers like Beethoven, Schubert, y Chopin build upon techniques while approaches que Wolfgang had pioneered. But perhaps more importantly, Wolfgang had demonstrated que music could be used como a powerful tool para political communication while social change. His example inspired subsequent generations de composers to use their art como vehicles para promoting social justice, political reform, while cultural progress. Wolfgang's legacy também includes his demonstration que extraordinary intellectual gifts could emerge in unexpected forms while at unexpected times. His childhood development challenged assumptions about human learning while creativity que influenced educational theory while developmental psychology para centuries. Modern understanding de cognitive science y neurodevelopment has confirmed que Wolfgang's abilities represented genuine biological differences in brain structure while function que allowed exceptional musical processing. His example continues to inform research sobre talent development, creativity, while expert performance. The mystery surrounding Wolfgang's death remains unresolved, pero evidence strongly suggests que he was murdered by political enemies who saw his influence como a threat to conservative social order. His death represents one of history's greatest losses to artistic while intellectual potential, eliminating a mind que might have continued producing revolutionary insights para decades. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart had proven que individual genius could challenge established authority while inspire social change through beauty while artistic excellence. His music remains a testament to la power de creative expression to transcend political boundaries while communicate universal truths about human dignity while potential. El genio que murió con 35 años had demonstrated que brief lives could produce contributions que endure indefinitely, while que artistic achievement could be inseparable from political courage while moral commitment. Esa es la fascinante y trágica historia real de cómo Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart desarrolló el genio musical más extraordinario de la historia mientras navegaba explotación infantil, intriga política masónica, y una muerte misteriosa que eliminó una mente que estaba revolucionando no solo la música sino toda la cultura europea. Si esta revelación sobre los secretos oscuros detrás del genio más puro de la historia te conmovió y te hizo reflexionar sobre cómo el talento extraordinario puede convertirse tanto en bendición como en maldición, Asegúrate de darle like a este video y suscríbete al canal para más historias que revelan las verdades ocultas sobre las figuras más brillantes de la historia mundial. Deja un comentario y cuéntanos. ¿Crees que Mozart fue asesinado por sus actividades políticas masónicas, o su muerte fue resultado de las presiones de una vida de genio explotado desde la infancia? ¿Qué aspecto de su vida encuentras más inspirador o más trágico? Gracias por acompañarnos en este viaje emocional a través de la vida del compositor más extraordinario que jamás haya existido, y recuerda, el verdadero genio a menudo viene acompañado de costos personales y políticos que pueden ser tan extraordinarios como los talentos mismos.